Just sorting out the last few consents now for the last part of March. And yeah, we've got some lovely places to go and show you what's occurring. We've got some lovely big estate lakes and obviously all the usual bits and pieces, but we have got a nice lot of interesting venues we can hopefully get some filming done to show you what we're doing and why. Also, I've ordered another new net. Yeah, just because I just wanted to get something a bit deeper. We've already got nets that are, you know, as deep as anyone's, and the problem is with really deep nets. I've used them in the past, and we made one donkeys years ago. They're obviously hard to handle, and just they're a bit of a nightmare, really. But yeah, I've ordered another one from Asins to help us with even deeper lakes. So yeah, the portfolio of equipment grows and grows. So yeah, but I'm hoping I need to make some inquiries, but I'm hoping I can film at a few of these venues because some of them are pretty awesome. Yeah, I'd like to get Ben out and get some really good footage with the drones and bits and pieces to show you sort of, especially because some of them are very tricky. You know, it's easy netting commercials full of fish. It's not a problem at all. Anyone can do that. But when it comes to big old pits full of weed and all sorts of stuff, and it is very challenging. It's not easy at all. But we love that. So yeah, hopefully we can show you quite a bit. Obviously, a lot of the parts of the country still suffering from flooding at the moment, which is a nightmare. So we don't wish that on anyone. So hopefully they're not losing too many fish, although it's pretty tricky when you're right next to a river. I know, I think one of the lakes I used to stock donkeys years ago, Cromwell, was underwater. And I think it's Newark, right next to the river, so that could be a bit tricky. But yeah, it's never nice. But and it is another reason to keep your fences maintained and clear. So if you're flooding and you've got an otter fence that's just full of bramble and muck and rubbish, then the fence can get damaged easier, but also the water won't pass through it as quick, obviously. So it is well worth maintaining your fences. I say to everyone, you see fences and they're full of just debris, and I'm like, well, you need to clean that. It's a really important job. Also, one of my regular clients, theirs is eroded at the bottom where it's all wet, been wet and damp for years, and it's just, I've seen 2 or 3 like that now, of traditional like tornado wire fence, which is just eroded. So don't think just because you've got a fence that's job done. Fence is great, obviously, for helping keep otters out, but also, I say, for keeping your fish in when it floods, can work really, really well, keeping people out to a certain degree. But fence maintenance is really important. I'm sure whoever installs your fence will tell you the same thing, but it's very important to monitor it. You know, you got to maintain and walk your fences regularly. But we go to a lot of places, like I say, where they'll put a fence in 10 years down the line. Oh yeah, no, we've got to worry about that. The fence is there. But it's just like everything else. The more you maintain regularly, the less like we're being faced with big costs at some of the venues at the moment because nothing's been done over the years, and it just accumulates like everything else. Whereas if you just have a program of maintenance, which is really easy annually, just whether it be tree work or it's the same with cropping. It's the same with anything. You know, if you keep eating away at it, and it's difficult because a lot of time it comes down to finance or it comes down to getting help. But at the end of the day, it's a false economy just to leave things, and the main things people leave are trees and excess vegetation, and they leave the stock for another year. Oh, we don't need to net it this year or whatever. And in some cases they don't. You know, this is all site-specific information. So, but what I would say is you don't want to be left with a huge bill for something that you could have just eaten away at. But I know it's difficult. You know, everyone's in different situations with finances and things like that. Especially when the weather doesn't help when it's flooding. But it's well worth having a fishery management plan. You know, not just winging it. Winging it is what a lot of people do. They keep bunging fishing, and it does always come round to bite them on the arse because we see it all the time. Like I say, it's all well and good until it isn't, and then when it isn't, it goes bad very quickly and very wrong. So you want to avoid that, really. So yes, taking advice is a massive help, but listening to the advice is even more wise. And sometimes the advice is quite boring, but that's because from people like myself, it's there to kind of help you protect your stocks, not buy more fish or you know, it's not about that. It's about safeguarding your fishery and your stocks for the future. rather than just making a couple of quid selling you some some stuff that you don't need. So yeah, it is frustrating when we end up going back places where, you know, you think, well, this could have been avoided, and then that happens a lot. Could have been avoided a lot. A lot of these mistakes with poor water quality, with you know, a lot of mortality. You think, well, this could have been avoided. Same with all manner of stuff to do with fish management, but it's no different. You know, like I say, it's you have to learn, and quite often, unfortunately, one of the quickest ways to learn is to make mistakes. But when you make mistakes with livestock, I think it's a bit of a waste, really, especially a waste of fish, but a waste of finances as well. So yeah, but like I say, we've only just started. We've done a couple of weeks already. Had some fun jobs already, but then we're at Marston all week netting commercial fishery for tiny fish, because they've bred loads and it's a heavily stocked commercial fishery, so we need to just remove those. They're tiny. We're not doing anything with them. They just stand on site in one of the little ponds there. Birds will probably end up eating most of them, but it's very important, because when you're running at that sort of capacity, you've got lots and lots of fish. There's no real vegetation, unfortunately, which is what they're really missing, because algal blooms, etc. It's just something else. If you combine decent stock management with decent plant management and trees, do all of that, you don't need half the fish to have consistent fishing, but people learn eventually. So anyway, that's where we are next week, and then after that, we're into November, and we're Spring Rock, Lamington Angling Club, the Rosie. Then we're down in Kent for a few days, Reading. Then we're off to France at the end of the month, so busy, which is great. So I need to fill out a few more of these netting consents and then go and have another cup of coffee.